Hello everyone, welcome to Double Clutch Auto Reviews. My name is Mark and today I am here with the brand new 2022 Toyota Camry XSE. This 2022 Camry has a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated inline 4-cylinder engine making 206 horsepower and 186 pound-feet of torque, and that's mated to an 8-speed shiftable automatic transmission and front-wheel drive. It's rated for 27 miles per gallon city, 38 miles per gallon on the highway, and overall 31 average miles per gallon. With a 15.8 gallon fuel tank, that gives it an estimated overall range between 426 to just over 600 miles on a full tank. The starting MSRP for a 2022 Camry XSE is just over $31,000 US. The 2022 Toyota Camry has 13 different trim levels to choose from, ranging from the base model LE, that's just under $26,000, all the way up to the XSE V6, that's just over $36,000. And essentially, when looking at all the trim levels of the Camry, if you're looking at the name, if it has an L in it, that stands for luxury. If it has an S in it, it stands for sport. And then Nightshade essentially means just murdered out all black on black paint scheme. There's also an available all-wheel drive version of the XSE if you pay $1,500 more extra, or if you forfeit the all-wheel drive and you want to go for the V6, if you pay an extra $5,000, you get the top dog XSE with the 3.5 liter V6, making almost 100 more horsepower than this one at 301 and 80 more pound-feet of torque at 267 pound-feet of torque. There's also the TRD Camry with the 3.5 liter V6 as well, and of course that comes with the sport tuned suspension, bigger brakes, exhaust, special seats, special interior trim stitching, and the TRD body kit with the spoiler on the back. I know the TRD Camry is the most sport-focused Camry out of all these trim options, and that's great and all, but it still doesn't come in a manual, and I really think it should, in my opinion. And I honestly think the styling, especially that spoiler on the TRD Camry, is just a little bit too much. And lastly, regarding all the trim levels of the Camry, there's also multiple hybrid versions available with the CVT that get a max highway miles per gallon ranging from 47 all the way up to 53 miles per gallon. That's spectacular. That's even better miles per gallon than I get on my motorcycle. To put it simply, if you're looking for a brand new Camry, you have many options available to you to fit your needs specifically. So I rented this Camry myself using Turo here in Miami, which has been a little bit of an interesting experience, but I'll save that story for a video in the future. Anyway, back to the 2022 Camry. With the XSE package, you get the Audio Plus package with the 6-speaker sound system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You also get a wireless phone charger right here below the climate controls, which is very cool. You also get LED headlights, the 19-inch gloss black alloy wheels. We also get the sport tuned suspension with the dual exhaust. There's also available heated and ventilated seats, and we also have an available two-tone paint, which this one has. And as I said earlier, there's an available all-wheel drive one, but this one does not have that. With all that being said though, and all the features that the Camry does come with, I'm surprised that it does not come with a remote start system. And now moving on to the exterior styling of the 2022 Camry. It's okay. It's sporty-ish. It's style-ish. It's not terrible at all, but it's not fantastic. There's nothing that really makes it stand out in either a positive or a negative way. Overall, it's decent looking. It has nice lines and nice proportions. I am definitely not a fan at all, though, of these fake vents. I wish they were functional, but oh well. The dual exhaust with the quad tips in the back does look cool, though, I will say. And this Camry has the two-tone Celestial Silver and Midnight Black, which is an extra $500 option, but I do think it looks pretty cool. It fits this car well. And now moving on to the interior of the 2022 Camry. As you can see, this is pretty much the reddest interior you'll ever want or need. And this actually is called Cockpit Red, which is funny enough. I'm not gonna lie, I actually do like this interior a lot. It is a little bit extra, like the color I'm talking about as far as that's concerned, especially for a Camry. Maybe if you had a TRD, that might be a little bit more fitting. However, I'm not gonna lie, it still looks really nice and everything feels nice to the touch, even though it might be a little bit overkill for this specific mid-level Camry. At least it's not all red, like the dashboard and the steering wheel and whatnot is still black. If it were all red, that would be way too much in my opinion. The black and silver accents definitely give it enough contrast to make it look really cool. Overall, the interior design though, especially the dashboard and the driver cockpit area, no pun intended, is very nice looking. I really like it. Especially the way that this trim piece swoops down around the driver and onto the center console, and then the rest of the piece of the dashboard goes up along where the passenger sits in front of where the passenger airbag is. I really like the way that looks. The seats are also quite comfortable. well bolstered. We have power controls for the driver and passenger, and in this XSE we also have heated seats but not ventilated. The center console is leather wrapped in the cockpit red as well. Makes it a comfortable place to rest your arm. It also has a decent amount of room inside with 2 USB ports in there as well. All of the buttons in here are also very well laid out and intuitive. Toyota always seems to have and continues to hit the nail on the head as far as that's concerned. In the center stack we have a 9-inch touchscreen with a satisfactory infotainment system. It works well, it's responsive and intuitive enough. Not horrible at all, but yet again, nothing super spectacular about it. We also have the added option for the panoramic moonroof, which looks really nice. It goes the whole length of the roof, but unfortunately, it really doesn't open up that much. It only opens up about maybe barely a foot, and I actually really wish it had a wider opening. I would sacrifice to have less glass coverage all the way to the back of the roof to have a wider opening for the actual part of the glass that you can open up and enjoy the sunlight coming into the interior. In the rear seats, we have decent passenger room. 4 adults would fit perfectly fine, however 5 would be cramped. The only amenities for rear seat passengers are a couple climate control vents, a couple of USB ports, an armrest with 2 cup holders, and the standard seat back pockets and door cubbies. I will say, between all of these USB ports and the wireless charging system in this interior, you can have 5 people though in this car, and everyone can be charging their phone at the same time. Looking at the trunk, we have a decent amount of room back there actually. 15.1 cubic feet of cargo space, and it also has a rather wide opening. I had 0 issues loading or unloading all of our luggage, and I'm sure you will have 0 issues loading and unloading your groceries as well. The only thing that's actually annoying about the trunk, if you ask me, is the fact that there's no grab handle to pull it down without having to put your hands on the paint. If you don't want to touch the paint, you kind of have to awkwardly hold this latch and yank it down, which really doesn't work that well. All right, now let's take the 2022 Camry out for a spin. Unfortunately, it is raining cats and dogs here in Miami right now. Literally getting like a little hurricane, but we're still gonna get a decent review. So I've been driving this car for a couple of days now here in Florida, and overall, I really do like this car. The interior overall, especially the seat comfort and ride quality, is very, very good. Even though this interior is way too red for this type of car, they've overall done a very good job with it. The driving position is quite comfortable between the seat position and the steering wheel feel. The visibility is also quite good. I can see pretty much very easily around the whole car. Also, the noise insulation between the road noise and the wind noise is satisfactory. They overall did a very good job. The steering feel is okay. There's not tons of feedback from the road with my inputs in the steering wheel, but it's overall relatively sharp and has decent predictability with where I'm placing the wheels as I'm turning into a corner. The actual handling of the Camry is really where it shines in a corner, and even in sport mode, the ride quality isn't compromised. In regards to the drive modes, I don't really feel too much of a difference between eco or sport. They all kind of feel the same, even with acceleration, braking, handling, all of that. And as far as the powertrain goes, I'm sure that this engine, this power plant, the 2.5 liter NA inline 4, makes a decent amount of horsepower and gets great fuel economy for what it is. I'm sure it also has great projected reliability. Of course, it's a Toyota. But I will say, when you put it in a 3,400 pound plus car, it just feels all right. Most people will be plenty happy with it, of course. It zips around and merges on the highway without an issue. However, do not be fooled as far as the looks are concerned with this car, inside or out. It will not blow your socks off in the performance category. When you are shifting the transmission manually, it takes about between half a second to 3/4 of a second between the time you click the paddle to the time that the actual gear shift occurs. Albeit, I will say that the Camry hides its weight a lot better in corners than it does in straight line acceleration. Now, a quick side note. I don't know if this is true or not. I've heard something like this, but is there a new thing coming out in newer vehicles with a fuel gauge discrepancy to how much that it reads on your gauge cluster, your distance to empty, to actually what you have in the fuel tank? Take a look at this. I'm looking at my actual fuel gauge. It does not look that I'm that low on gas, except in my gauge cluster, it says that I'm about to run out of gas. Let me know in the comments if you have any experience with this, because as far as I'm concerned, this car is telling me that I have way less of a distance to empty than I actually can go. And now I will say, I've never used radar cruise control for a long time in traffic, but the radar cruise control system in this Camry is awesome. It's absolutely fantastic. So we were driving from Miami to Fort Lauderdale in rush hour traffic, and I'm telling you, that radar cruise control made it the easiest and most stress-free time that I've ever had in traffic, period. I just set it to the 3 bar for the car lengths in front of me. I put it at 19 miles an hour, and look, the car literally stopped all the way to 0 for me and started right back up again. It was truly amazing, honestly. That would make commuting in traffic every day so much less stressful and tiresome. When you drive a 2022 Camry, you can clearly tell that Toyota focused on interior comfort, ride quality, and ease and pleasure of driving. I've been driving this car for about 4 days now, and I honestly feel like this car is already my own car. That's how easy and intuitive everything is. It truly is remarkable. So the 6-speaker audio system is okay. Will satisfy most customers, but there's not a lot of heavy bass, I will say. The Jeeps that I've been driving lately have a lot better bass, but they also have an Alpine subwoofer in the back, so that definitely attributes to the bass quality. Overall, the sound system is decent. All right, ready? Full throttle. Spun the tires. Transmission shifts for you if you don't shift quick enough. Acceleration's decent. It's really not that bad, but it's not gonna throw you back in your seat. When you throw the car in just plain old drive though, and have it in eco or normal mode, this transmission shifts very smoothly and the car rides really, really nice. As far as just ride quality goes for a daily commuting aspect where you're not really romping on it, it just drives very, very well. Toyota did a great job with the Camry, making it do what it's meant to do. It shifts very smoothly, seamlessly going through the gears. Honestly, I think it's better than a lot of CVTs I've driven, gotta say. Not only does it feel like an actual transmission should, but it just works well. It doesn't feel weird like a CVT. It feels good. And now I'm gonna try using the gear lever to shift the transmission. I will say it's not in the correct orientation. You have to push forward to upshift and back to downshift. The Jeep Compass actually had it correct, where it was back to upshift and forward to downshift. Right away, the speeds of the gear shift are pretty much identical to using the paddles as it is with the gear lever. I guess this is strictly based on your personal preference as far as which one you would like to use to shift manually. All right, from a stop. Ready, go. The transmission, even in sport mode and in manual mode, it seems to just kind of do what it wants to do, unfortunately. I will say the downshifts are handy. You know, you can just pop the gear lever back and it downshifts pretty quickly for you, or just slap the left paddle. But if the transmission really thinks it wants to shift based on your road speed or RPMs or whatnot, yeah, it's just gonna do it for you. It doesn't hold the gear as it should. Go. Oh, traction. I hit the paddle, didn't I? So I have traction control off, and theoretically it would just be spinning the tires, but it literally fights the traction, cuts the RPMs, and it kind of goes, and then it pulls when it finally gains traction. Come on, Toyota. If you want traction control off, it should just stay off. Don't even give the driver the option unless you can really turn it off. If you're looking at a Camry for daily driving or commuting, you will be very, very happy. It does a great job at what it's meant to do. The exteriors, nah. The interior is very good. The ride quality and driving experience is great. It's just not fast at all. Don't expect a sports car, obviously. All right, guys, that is all I have time for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in for my little review video of the 2022 Camry. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of the brand new Camry in the comments down below. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. Please make sure you smash that like button and consider subscribing. I really appreciate it. It really helps me out to grow my channel, and it means a lot to me. Take care, guys. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you on the next review. Peace.